my URL which is common. For these URLs till retail it's common, so I could say
Priya, your voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear.
I was saying, like the part of my URL which is common, I'll consider it as my endpoint, and the part which is coming after the URL, I'll take it as, I think you should check. So there are two child resources after my endpoint. So I'll tell you when we'll move on to the how could we build a REST-based project, like same like we do for the SOAP. How could we build SOAP-based project? Tomorrow I'll show you how could we make REST-based project. Okay, so in this it will be clear to you. Till the time you should know what is endpoint, what are resources. So now the next topic for today is I'll cover its operations. What are the operations which are related to my URLs? See here, can you see it's post and some more operations. Here it is put operation, and related to delete. Here, see here, this is delete, get. So these all are the operations which let us now relate it with my operations, which I could say just a minute. Actually, with each and every web service, again retail is my web service, right, which I configured onto my Apache Tomcat server. So each and every web service, say if it is desktop application, any desktop application or any web-based application will surely have some operations which I could say as CRUD operations. Any kind of application, if it is web-based, if it is desktop-based, it will always be related to some operations, and for the case I'll say it is CRUD operations. So what is the meaning of CRUD operations? C stands for create, R stands for retrieve, U stands for update, and D stands for delete. So how these all are related to my REST based application? See here I'm not getting it's create, delete, update and retrieve, right? Here I'm just using get, post, put and delete. These terms are actually mainly used within my applications. Get, post, put and delete, and one more request type as its batch. Actually behind the scenes these all operations are performed, but these all request types are actually related to these kinds of operations. So let us relate with each and every one, then I'll tell you how it works within our practical practical life, if I say in the real time example. Okay, say if I'll say that get request actually works with retrieve only. Retrieve means to get something, retrieve, and my post request is used. Post request is used with which method? With create method, and put is used with update, and the last one as D is delete is used with delete only. Delete method is related to my delete request. It's like this. So firstly let us talk about how could be related within our practical uses, the real-time example. Into this, say if I write Google any text. See, this is also one of the kind of request, but we didn't use it generally. It is related to put, but we don't use. We use only these four, which are directly related to our CRUD operations. There are not only these 4 or 5, many more request methods are there. Okay, so but we'll mainly concentrate on get, post, put and delete, which are directly related to my CRUD operations. Okay, here now I explain you how could we compare it within. How could I compare it within, say if I Google for SOAPUI tutorials, and what I am getting within the URL. This is my link. When I search for SOAPUI tutorials, this is the thing which I write within the search panel. I write this, and what do I get within my URL? I get this thing. It contains these both words, SOAPUI tutorials, with a question mark, right? So the part of my URL is what? My own request. So I'll say such kind of request is get request. Get request means what? Get request means here the something which I am searching for is actually present within my URL. Such kind of request is get request. Same I'll say for this. When we move on to, like, when we'll perform directly the REST based request, perform the operations onto my REST, then you will see get request is working like this. Okay, this is about get request when something is what? The part of my, like, the text for which I'm looking for, I'm getting it within the URL. This kind of request is get request. Okay, so let's talk about one more request type. Say if I go for fp.com. Now I'll show you for post request. Okay, say if I again mention the wrong username, wrong password, what I'm getting within the username, I did write Priya Nischal, right? But I'm not getting within the URL, even the password which I mentioned, it was wrong, but it is again not giving me that URL, that value within the URL. It's like this. Within login.php page, within this website, I am trying to log in, and here I am just showing that I am not able to log in. When I see its screen, it's giving me that you are not able to log in, wrong password, but I am not able to see that username, my correct username and password within the request. So this kind of request is post. So when I am not able to see for which I am looking for within the URL, that kind of request is part of my post request. And post here means to create. Get and post, I hope it's clear, right? So let me complete some two more operations which are left, and I'll get you down. Just give me a minute. See if I mentioned, the correct username, and here I'm able to log in into my account, and these all I'm getting, and here I need the link to update my info. So update my info, what does it means? It means I am trying to put something. Say if you want to update your just a minute, if you want to update your password or update your phone number, just a minute, settings, within settings I want to change something. I want to change the password, or if you want to add your phone number, your current location and all. So this kind of thing is actually related to your put request. So it is again a kind of post. Here I am not getting anything related which things I just entered. So after post, which request type I am getting? This request type is for update. So simply I am just showing you, if you want to update something, if you want to update any info related to your account, you just need to, you will make this put request, put kind of request. Is it clear? What is the meaning of get? When I get something within the URL, the part for which I am looking for. Post means to create post. Within the post I am not able to see the part for which I am looking for within the URL. So get request is more secure as compared to post, because within get I am able to see for which I am looking for. Maybe it contains some credentials related to your password, to your username and all. Okay, and within post I don't get the part for which I am trying to looking for and everything. Okay, and again same case for update. Within update I use put request, and this request you are not able to see onto this. Here I am not getting, like, this is a get type, this is a put type, but when we'll move on to our tool. Okay, I'll show you. This is my tool which is already configured. See here, can you see? These are the methods. So when the same thing which we do for our SOAP based request, what we do for the case of my SOAP based request, I was directly looking for the pattern for which I just I just directly map it to the location with which I want to compare its value. But what about this retail? By default, it's these all are the methods. Okay, so as we configured, as we build our SOAP based project over here, tomorrow I'll show you how could we configure REST based project, and then I'll show you how this endpoint and resources are used. Okay, is it clear? And if I want to delete something, delete means if I want to delete my account, if I want to delete my phone number, again I'll get a URL, and from here you'll change its method type to delete, or the method with which you want to change. Okay, is it clear about the methods and the requests? Practically I'll show you tomorrow, but if you say, I'll show you today only. Okay, yes, I have this point, I have this topic, building REST based project. So let me show you how could we make REST based project, then everything will be clear to you. Okay, so let us start to, yes, see. See here, within the get request, when I write it, I am getting everything within the URL. This is the very simple difference. Like within post, I am not able to, I can't see what for which I am looking for. It's like this. This is just to explain you get and post, but actually get and post will be, it's working, it will be clear to you within this SOAPUI tool. Okay. In a layman terms, I could say within get you'll see everything within the URL for which you are looking for which you are searching. And for the case of post, the part which can't be shared with everyone will be posted into this. Okay, one question: is there any difference between get and post? Yes, this is there are a list of differences which, as I said, which will be clear to you when we'll move on to our when I'll show you how could we build our REST based project and how various operations. See, these all are the services for my SOAP based project. Again, a list of services will be there when I go for a REST based project. So let me show you how could we build a REST based project, then I hope it will be clear to you. Okay, firstly let me start. It's giving me new REST project, for which it is looking for? It is looking for the URLs, right? So what is the URL in the case of my retail application? See, this is the topest URL which I need, so I'll here mention the endpoint. And what is the service endpoint for my retail application? Till this part. See, this is common for all the URLs, right? You can also go for this. You can also use till 8080 as my endpoint, and then these all will be considered as their resources, child resources. Okay, say try it on your own. I'll go for this only. I'll consider it as my endpoint because this is the common part for all the URLs. Okay, when you practice, go for this endpoint also and make all of these as your child resources. Okay, till the time I'll consider till this part as my URL. Okay, so I don't need this. This is my URL. What you are getting? These are some by default methods requests which are generated. And one more question, I think someone asked me in the last lecture. It's a WS really for SOAP based request. How could we see if my REST based request is configured correctly or not? We'll get it like the answer for this question from this only. Okay, so these all are what? These are by default methods. I don't need all of these. Okay, firstly it's only about resources. we are on to this. Okay, first let's rename it. To rename its function key plus F2. Say if it is rest project 1. So this is how to rename its F2 key. Then within this, till which part I am getting, can you see here, it's under retail, it's retail app rest, then retail. Till this part I am able. Now what I want this. My child resource is admin after retail. These are very confusing things if you don't understand about this backslash, where it comes and where it doesn't come. It's like this. Okay, so getting here again method and request which are generated as by default, right? But we don't need all of these. Just delete. Again we are on to this. Okay, now which part I am getting within the URL? Retail app rest, then retail, and then admin. Till admin I am getting. Is it clear? How could we add resources, the child resources, onto my endpoint? Is it clear? Now the next thing, after admin it's login. This is one more child resource. So just click on to that location after which you want to add child resource. Here. Again, see here, I am getting all these things as by default. I did copy till this part, right? But these two methods and requests I am generating, I am able to see just these are generated as by default. And look into this. By default method is get, right? So again one more difference within get and post. Get method will be generated as your by default. Only just looking if that particular data could be seen, could be like if it is not as much, if it is not required to be secure, then I'll able to see it within the method type as get. And same case for searching also. By default the method which is fired over here is get only. Okay, and when I enter it within my Facebook account, then what does it mean? It means that within my account I am entered like just clicking on to just entering the website as facebook.com. I am within the post method only. Okay, it's like this, and just on the basis of the area, the part on which you are entering your data, it will vary. If it is get, post, put and delete, these all things are generated as by default. Okay, with the browser, with the website. So here I am getting the method type. So which method is related to my this request login? It is post, right? So I'll change its method type to post. Can you see here? When I was using it as by default, it was actually get method was by it's coming as by default, but we do need post request only. Okay, so here the method type is changed. See here, this is post now, but I didn't delete it. Can you please tell me why don't I delete this method and request as I was deleting it for each and every child resource? Anyone? Yes. Just a minute. A login is my last child resource, and my method and request is directly related to my last child resource only. That's why when I create this as my child resource, this as my endpoint, I delete each and every method and request. Okay, so here I don't delete, I'll just even rename it. Say this is my login request, and for this, okay, just a minute, I'll change its name. Login method. These are methods and requests are used, like if you use method or request are same terms. Just rename it to login request. Okay, yes. Now see, any doubt? This is all about the post, how to get the method, the request type as a post. If you want some other request, you can also change it just on the basis of the functionality which is performed by its last child resource. Okay, any doubt, anyone? Resources, child resources. See if you want to do everything within a single project, Okay, if you want to perform each and everything within a single project, then I'll create one endpoint which is common. See here, the endpoint which is common for all the URLs, for all the services within its main URL or its endpoint. You consider it as endpoint. Say if you want this particular URL to be performed within a single project, this to be performed within a second project, then you can go for this whole Azure URL. But we don't need this thing. This is not practically possible, right? So the part of my URL which is common, I'll consider it as my endpoint, and all the terms, all the resources, all the functionalities will come after this endpoint. It's like this. Clear? We can't use it a whole URL as my one endpoint and consider method and request. So the part of my URL which is common, I'll consider it as my endpoint, and all the resources which are coming after my endpoint, I'll consider all these as my child resources. Okay, one more thing, let me show you. If I want to make one more method like this, you can make method 2, and within this method 2, by default request will be generated. And see here, this method, which type I'm getting? By default I'm getting get, right? I hope now it's clear. By default get method will be fire, and if according to the requirements of our URL, according to the requirements of our functionality, I'll change it. Any doubt? Anyone? See here, I am saying for this question, the part which we did now is still this part. I am able to reach at this level. So what is present after this? I hope for the SOAP it is clear to you. Within the SOAP, within this particular level, I am getting all the services. The same thing for this. I am getting a service, not all. Why not all? Because I did make the child resources related to my single URL. Okay, and if you want to perform again this kind of if you want to see the response, again it is a topic for tomorrow, I think. Here you are, just a minute, here it is. How could we implement our request? I'll show you this thing in our next class. How to implement our request, how to fire a different request and all. Okay. Here, as I said, again I'll not explain you the levels. I'll just directly tell you how I'm firing the get and post request. These are level suite and cases. I'll explain you tomorrow. And one more step. Say if it is now which step? It is REST based request instead of SOAP based request. Now here, can you see here? I am getting the option to which level, to which, see this is, it is just giving me till level login request, because I configured only this first URL, right? If I configured more than one URL, then you get more options to which level, to which point you want to map. If I select it like this, okay, I'm getting the screen like this. Now within this, what I write, if you remember about SOAP, let us see here. Within the request type of my SOAP, I was getting this till this part. I just write here the username and password, right? Am I right? Yes. But for the case of my REST based request, I am not getting anything. Why? Because here we need to write JSON request, and I'll explain this thing in my next class. How could we write here JSON request? And here, can you see, I'm able to see to which level, to which request, to which kind of URL I'm looking for. Everything is mentioned at